What was the greatest mistake of your life? It cost me an entire year of my life. If I hadn't gotten a second chance, I wouldn't still be alive. It was a hot and humid summer day in Manhattan. I was making my way through the park, on the way to grab lunch with some of my coworkers. That's when I saw her. She was breathtaking. She was sitting on the park bench, reading. She looked up at me as I walked by, and then looked back down at the book. It was odd, she seemed sort of familiar to me. I continued on, but about 10 seconds after passing her, I realized that I did know her. She knew my friend Jack from college, and we had met briefly at a party a few years back. As I turned around to take another look and confirm, I caught her in the middle of her own double take. I decided that lunch could wait, and made a complete 180 and walked right back over to her. Maria, right? Yes, you're Kevin, Jack's friend. I knew you seemed familiar, I guess I couldn't recognize you in that suit, she replied, setting down her book. What are you doing now that we graduated? Must be something in business, based on the suit. Proudly, I told her, investment banking. It's only my second week, but it is very exciting. How about you? Ooh, so you've sold your soul. Just kidding, but I have heard those hours are rough. As for me, I'm a photographer. It's always been my passion, and now it's my job, and I love it, she said, and then she looked me in the face and cracked a smile. Her smile was white in her golden brown face, and her eyes had the same color as her skin. She really was beautiful. I could feel my throat start to swell a bit, and my heart was beating faster. I looked at my watch, and saw that I was tight on time. I very much wanted to see more of Maria, but I also knew that she was right, and that I would have very demanding hours. In my mind, at the time, I didn't have time to take any interest in women, so no point in asking for her number. Even now, I cringe at how foolish and short-sighted I was. So we said our goodbyes, and I went to lunch with my coworkers. Over the next few months, I became more and more disillusioned with my job. Now that I was there, in the office, the work just wasn't as interesting as I imagined it would be. It was mostly making insignificant edits on PowerPoints at the whim of my more senior colleagues. And the hours were long. It felt like I wasn't even living anymore, just working. Often, as I would lay in bed before I went to sleep, I would think about Maria. Why hadn't I just asked for her number? What was I afraid of? I imagined if they wrote a book about me, that it would be perhaps the most boring book ever written. I'd much rather read a book about the man who had asked for Maria's number, maybe even asked her out on a date right then and there in the park. But that was in the past, and there was no way to find her again now. One day, I was in the office, and it just became too much. I overheard a senior colleague talking about his divorce, and then another discussing how he hadn't seen his kids in over a week. They had a laugh, and got back to work. I was sick to my stomach. Was that the life I was working for? I told my associate that I was heading out to grab some lunch. He seemed a bit annoyed that I would leave the office rather than order in, but I didn't really care. I walked outside, and went to the park and sat on the bench, the same one Maria was sitting in that summer day. I looked out at the park, and thought to myself, an entire year has passed, and you don't have anything to show for it. Nothing in your life has really changed. Your only new memories are from work, and those all sort of blend into one. It was at that moment I saw her. She was breathtaking. It was Maria. I waved to get her attention, and she saw me and walked over. Hey, long time no see, Mr. Banker. How are you? If I'm being honest, you look a bit down today. I smiled, and said, just a bad day at work. Where are you headed? To a shoot. I have a bit of time to catch up though, I'm in no rush. We caught up and I learned all about what she had done that year. She had traveled to Europe and to Asia, met new people and saw new things. And to top it all off, she had the most beautiful pictures she had taken to document all of it. When she asked me what I had done, I told her the truth. The last year of my life had been one long bad day at work. Before she left, I asked her, Maria, are you seeing anyone at the moment? Well, with all my traveling, I haven't really had much time to do any dating. Well, would you like to grab coffee with me sometime? Sure, I'd love to. We exchanged numbers, and then she walked off to her shoot. I walked back to work, but this time I was smiling from ear to ear. When I got back, my associate asked, what's got you in such a good mood? I replied, oh nothing, just a girl. He chuckled and said, that feeling will wear off soon, trust me. It didn't. Coffee became dinner, dinner turned to dating, dating turned to engaged, and soon enough, we were married. I still feel the same way about Maria, who is now my wife. It was like my life was a black and white movie, and as soon as she was in it, it was full of color. She even made my job feel better, as now my work had a purpose, to build a better life for the two of us. Eventually I got a job that didn't pay as well but gave me much more time to spend with her, and now we've been married for 6 years, and she is pregnant with our first kid, a son. My advice to all of you is to be bold. Go talk to her, or him, or do the thing that makes your life feel full of color. Don't live a life you'll regret.